Hi, and welcome to this short developer video for the next version of ModLoader 1.9 and the next version of the weapons framework. So now that I've gotten ModLoader 1.8 and the weapons framework out the door, I can start, or I have started, implementing the features that I really wanted to implement, but I didn't have time for. Well, I did have time. I would just have had to delay the framework, 5 days or a week or 2 weeks or whatever. And I wanted to get it out as quickly as possible. And as we can see, it's fostered quite a few weapons already, so I think that was a good decision. But anyways, with the next version of the framework, things have changed quite a bit. So since the very inception of ModLoader, one big priority for me was to ensure that if you made changes to your code, you wouldn't have to restart the entire game to try out your changes. You would just hit a button and that was it. And that has been implemented in ModLoader since day one. And then at some point I also added the ability to reload JSON mods, so you wouldn't have to restart the game if you modified a JSON mod. And then with the addition of weapon modding support, that is also the case for weapons or anything really exported from Unity. So ModLoader will automatically manage all the bundles, and if you make changes and hit reload, ModLoader will automatically reload all the code and the JSON and the bundles as well, so you can test all your changes immediately, regardless of what kind of change they are. So you won't ever, or at least not very often, have to restart the game. So with the current release of the framework, the way you export things are by choosing your assets and then adding them to an asset bundle, or going up to the Blade and Sorcery menu and export the selected asset. This has changed completely with the next version. So now you no longer assign bundles through Unity's own interface. Instead, you can go to Blade and Sorcery, and now there are a couple of new options. The first one is this create new mod. So if you want to create a new mod, a new weapons mod, for example, you just go up here, you hit create new mod, and then you choose a name, description, etc., and you can see where it will be created. And then you hit create. Now I don't want to open this folder because I've got the mods folder open already. I can see my mods folder here, and we can see that the weapons framework created a mod.json file for me. So if I open that with Internet Explorer, we can see that the bundles array here is empty. Now if I go back into Unity, I'm going to click the Blade and Sorcery menu and then click this new settings button. And in here, in the framework settings, I can change the active mod. So I've got one mod, and I'll set that as active. And then I can go into the framework settings for this mod. And here I can define my bundles. So in this case, I want just one bundle. You can have as many bundles as you want. And then I'll give it a name of hello and a path of world.bundle. And then I can specify the assets. Now, I've got this halberd weapon here just as an example. But I can take this, either I can take my asset and drag it onto the assets array, and I can add as many assets as I want. Now dependencies, like before, are added automatically, so I don't have to add all the textures as well. But let's say that my halberd mod consists of a lot of different things, a lot of prefabs and particle systems, etc. Then instead of having to drag each asset onto here, I can simply take the folder itself and drag that on there. And now everything in this halberd mod folder is part of that bundle. And so now whenever you're done with your weapon, you've made changes, you go up here and you click export assets. And unlike before, where you had to choose a location, hit OK, and then wait for it to export, and then find that folder and then rename the bundle and then copy it into your mods folder and then define the bundles in the mod JSON bundles array, this is now all done for you. So now you just click export assets, and the weapons framework will automatically export all bundles for the active mod. So if I click this, bam, now I've got the bundles file and the array has been populated. And if I go back in here into my settings, which is what this mods folder is for, here are all the settings for the mods. I can change my bundle name, I can change the path to whatever, and I can hit export, and bam, and the framework automatically figures out that I've renamed the file and rename that to this and update the bundles array, and of course if I add more or I delete bundles, that'll all be updated automatically. And so now whenever I make changes, all I have to do is click export assets, and that's it. Once I'm ready to release, I can just tick compress, and then bam. So now it'll take a little longer because it has to compress all the assets. But that makes it a whole lot easier instead of having to copy files and rename files, etc. And what I'm currently working on is to make this even easier. So I've got this new export and reload mod option. And what this does is exactly the same as this one, except that it will also automatically reload the mod in the game. So clicking this button will be identical to clicking this button and then switching to the game and pressing double tapping F8 or reload JSON mods or whatever. But with this, that's all automatic. So if you're in the game, you're testing your weapon, you realize, well, this handle is wrong, I need to rotate it a bit. Then you go into Unity, you rotate it, and you just click this. Whoops, if I could hit it, this, and bam, it's instantly exported. Well, not instantly, but it's exported, and then it's reloaded automatically in the game, ready for you to test. So, and I've also, for the next version of ModLoader, I've also added weapon racks for the house. Before, modded weapons didn't spawn in the house, but they will in ModLoader 1.9. And then I'm also working on a new sort of magic rack, weapon rack, because I realized that the 4 racks that I've defined per map are not enough. That gives a total of 16 modded weapons, and I've filled up like 2 racks already of just my own weapons, so I think that's gonna be filled up pretty quickly. So I'm working, or I've not started working on it yet, but I will be working on a new magic weapon rack where you can sort of scroll through weapons or browse weapons and then, you know, grab it from there. So basically you have an infinite rack, sort of like, you know, the Matrix construct. So yeah, anyways, that is what I am working on now, and I'll continue once I'm done with this video and once I've eaten the rest of my food. So yeah, thank you for watching, and bye-bye.